Did you know that 65% of people consider themselves bad storytellers? That's a shocking number. Storytelling may seem like an easy skill, but for many, it feels daunting. In fact, studies show that stories can make information 22 times more memorable. So, why do so many struggle with it? Here's the good news. You don't have to become a great storyteller overnight. Mastering storytelling is a journey that takes time, practice, and the willingness to learn from your mistakes. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. You won't get it right on your first try, but every wobble and fall teaches you something new. In this article, we'll explore 6 powerful chapters that will guide you through this journey. You'll discover the truth about slow growth, how to connect emotionally with your audience, and the art of crafting vivid experiences. We'll also delve into the magic of silence, how to transform ordinary moments into epic tales, and why embracing failure is crucial for growth. So, if you're ready to unlock the secrets of great storytelling, buckle up. Your adventure starts now, and trust me, it's going to be worth it. Chapter 1, The Myth of Instant Mastery. Why slow growth is your superpower. We've all heard the phrase, practice makes perfect. But when it comes to storytelling, perfection isn't the goal. It's about progress. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book Outliers, says it takes 10,000 hours to master something. That's a long time, but it means you shouldn't expect to get it right from the start. That's the beauty of it. Great storytelling isn't instant, and that's okay. Think of storytelling like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger your skill gets. Trying to rush this process can actually hold you back. According to research, habits take around 66 days to form, not overnight. Storytelling is no different. It's a journey, not a destination. One key strategy for growth is embracing the learning curve. Don't just focus on the end result. Pay attention to the feedback you get. Adjust your technique. This approach allows you to improve at a sustainable pace. Take Neil Gaiman's advice. Start telling the stories that only you can tell, because there will always be better writers than you and there will always be smarter writers than you. But you are the only you. It's also helpful to observe great storytellers. Watch how they tell their tales. What makes their stories stand out? This doesn't mean copying their style, but instead learning from their strengths. Growth takes time, but the skills you develop will be more authentic to you. Chapter 2, The Emotional Blueprint. How to make your audience feel the story. Great storytelling isn't just about what happens in the story, it's about how the audience feels. You want your audience to feel something, whether it's joy, sadness, or inspiration. Research shows that when people feel emotionally connected to a story, they're 22 times more likely to remember it. So, how do you build that emotional connection? Start by getting into the minds of your audience. What are their struggles, fears, and desires? Your story should tap into those emotions. Pixar is famous for doing this. Their films often make us cry, laugh, and reflect, all in under 2 hours. One of their storytelling rules is, you admire a character for trying more than for their success. This means we're emotionally hooked on the effort characters put into overcoming their struggles, not just on the outcome. Here's a tip: use specific details to bring out emotions. Instead of saying, "She was sad," try, "Tears welled up in her eyes as she clutched the letter." This paints a clearer picture and makes the emotion more vivid. Also, don't forget to humanize your characters. Make them relatable. People connect to stories where they see themselves in the characters. Think of your favorite stories. How often did you see your own fears, dreams, or experiences reflected in them? Lastly, try experimenting with vulnerability. Opening up about your own experiences, mistakes, or fears can make your storytelling more authentic and emotionally powerful. Brené Brown, in her book Daring Greatly, emphasizes that vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. By being open, you allow your audience to connect with the story on a deeper level. Chapter 3, Beyond Words. Crafting visual and sensory experiences. Storytelling isn't just about the words you use, it's about creating an experience. Have you ever noticed how the best stories pull you in as if you're living in them? That's because great storytellers engage all your senses. Let's take a cue from J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. She doesn't just tell us about Hogwarts. She shows us the dark stone hallways, the flickering candles, and the crackling fire in the common room. As readers, we don't just hear about it, we feel it, see it, smell it. This kind of sensory detail makes stories more immersive. One fascinating fact: our brains process images 60,000 times faster than text. That's why adding visual elements to your storytelling can have such a big impact. It's not just about what you say, it's about what your audience sees in their minds. You can also use metaphors and analogies to help paint a clearer picture. For example, instead of saying, "The storm was strong," you could say, "The storm roared like an angry lion, shaking the trees." This gives your audience a visual and emotional reference. Another overlooked tool: silence. Sometimes, what you don't say is just as important as what you do. Pause for effect. Let your audience sit with the tension before giving them the next piece of the story. Alfred Hitchcock once said, "There is no terror in the bang, only in the anticipation of it." Build up suspense by allowing space for silence and thought. Finally, consider the pacing of your story. Pacing helps control the rhythm of your narrative. Speeding up can build excitement, while slowing down can add weight to important moments. A well-paced story holds the audience's attention without overwhelming them. If you're enjoying these tips, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on storytelling. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Chapter 4: The Art of Silence. Mastering the power of pauses and pacing. Silence is an underrated tool in storytelling. We often think that every moment has to be packed with dialogue or action, but sometimes what you don't say speaks volumes. Think of silence as the white space between the words. It gives your story room to breathe. A well-placed pause can build anticipation, suspense, or even tension. Alfred Hitchcock was a master of this. He said, "There is no terror in the bang, only in the anticipation of it." Silence, when used strategically, can make your audience sit on the edge of their seats. Pauses also give your audience time to reflect. If you're telling a deeply emotional story, those moments of quiet can allow your listeners to feel the weight of what just happened. Think about those moments in movies where everything goes quiet right before something big happens. It's powerful. In terms of pacing, it's all about balance. Research shows that the brain can only process so much information at once, so rushing through your story can leave your audience lost. If you slow things down in the right places, it gives key moments more impact. A slower pace during emotional moments lets the audience absorb the depth of what's happening. Meanwhile, speeding up during action or high-tension moments keeps the energy up. Consider the pacing of your favorite book or movie. There's a rhythm to it, a natural ebb and flow. That's what makes it engaging. If everything happened at the same speed, it would feel flat. Instead, you want to guide your audience through highs and lows, fast moments and slow ones. The best stories play with this rhythm, letting it rise and fall like a well-composed piece of music. Chapter 5: Storytelling Alchemy. Transforming mundane moments into epic tales. Not every great story starts with a life or death scenario or an epic quest. In fact, some of the most powerful stories come from everyday moments. Think about the last time someone told you a story about a simple, everyday event, but it stuck with you. It's likely because they found a way to make it meaningful or relatable. That's the art of storytelling alchemy, turning the mundane into something memorable. Take Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. On the surface, it's about an old man fishing. But it's also a deep exploration of human endurance, isolation, and hope. Hemingway was famous for making simple stories resonate on a much deeper level. His advice: write the truest sentence you know. The truest stories often come from real, everyday moments. One strategy for turning the mundane into something epic is by adding detail. It's not just about telling what happened, but about how it happened. What did it feel like? What did you notice? Specifics matter. Instead of, "I went to the store," say, "I trudged into the grocery store, my shoes squeaking on the tiled floor as I passed rows of neon-colored cereal boxes." The more specific, the more engaging. Another trick is to focus on the underlying emotion or message of the story. What's the bigger idea behind this simple moment? Was it about perseverance, love, or disappointment? Find that emotional thread and weave it into the narrative. Every story, no matter how small, can carry a universal theme. That's what makes it relatable and powerful. Lastly, you can add a dash of humor. Sometimes the most boring stories become the funniest ones with the right twist. Humor helps people connect to the story, and it makes the mundane feel lighter and more enjoyable. As Mark Twain once said, humor is mankind's greatest blessing. If you found these insights valuable, consider subscribing for more tips on honing your storytelling skills. Your journey to becoming a great storyteller is just beginning, and I can't wait to share more with you.